Have you ever wondered about the final moments of Tony Stark? We all remember the snap, the sacrifice, the heart-wrenching I love you 3000. But what if there is a story hidden within those final seconds? A story not just of a hero's choice, but of a cosmic decision made by the Infinity Stones themselves. Let's rewind. The Infinity Stones aren't just powerful objects, they are cosmic singularities. Remnants of the universe's creation. The comics, and even hints in the MCU, suggest they possess a form of consciousness. The Soul Stone, for instance, requires a sacrificed judge's worthiness. The Mind Stone could influence minds, and the Reality Stone actively warp the world according to the user's will. These aren't just batteries. They're forces of nature with intent. So, when Tony Stark seized the gauntlet, what really happened? The power surge should have been instantaneous, obliterating him in a flash, just as it nearly did to the Hulk, a being designed to absorb gamma radiation. Yet, Tony held on. He had time to lock eyes with Thanos, to utter those 4 legendary words, "I am Iron Man." Why the delay? Here's a theory. In that critical moment, the combined consciousness of the 6 stones looked into Tony Stark. They didn't just see a man, they saw his entire journey. They saw the brilliant, arrogant weapons dealer in a cave, piecing together a crude arc reactor to save his own life. The Power Stone would have recognized that raw, untamed energy, the sheer will to survive and create. It saw the birth of Iron Man, a being of pure power forged in desperation. Then, the Mind Stone would have seen the evolution of that intellect. It saw Tony grappling with the knowledge of alien threats, creating Ultron in a flawed attempt to protect the world. It saw his mind racing, always calculating, always 3 steps ahead. It recognized a pure mind so vast it could conceive of harnessing their own infinite power. The Reality Stone would have witnessed Tony's ability to reshape his world. From a playboy billionaire to a selfless hero, he fundamentally altered his own reality. He built a new element to power his suit, invented time travel, and constantly bent the rules of what was possible through science. He didn't just accept reality, he rewrote it. The Space Stone would have felt his ambition. Tony built suits that could travel to the edge of the atmosphere, explored the bottom of the ocean, and even journeyed into the quantum realm. His desire was always to bridge distances, to be everywhere he was needed, to connect and protect his corner of the universe. And what about the Time Stone? It would have seen the man who looked Doctor Strange in the eye and asked, "How many did we win?" The one man in 14,605 futures who could make the ultimate sacrifice. The Time Stone would have understood that Tony's entire life was a countdown to this single, perfect moment. It saw the past, present, and future converge on this one mortal, ready to pay the price. Finally, the Soul Stone. This is the heart of it all. It would have looked into Tony Stark's soul and seen not just the arc reactor, but the heart beneath it. It saw his love for Pepper, his mentorship of Peter Parker, his complicated friendship with Steve Rogers, and his fierce devotion to his daughter, Morgan. It saw the ultimate sacrifice he was willing to make, giving up everything he loved for everyone else. The Soul Stone, which demands such a price, would have found him worthy. In that microsecond, the Infinity Stones made a pact. They saw in Tony Stark a perfect vessel, a confluence of all their domains: power, mind, reality, space, time, and soul. He was, in his own mortal way, a reflection of their combined essence. They didn't kill him instantly because their purpose wasn't just destruction, it was balance. They needed to fulfill their user's intent. And Tony's intent was pure: save the universe. So, they granted him his wish. They held back their overwhelming, destructive power just long enough for him to snap his fingers. They channeled their energy through him, not into him, focusing it into a singular universe-altering act. They waited. They let him see his victory. They allowed him the moment to know that his sacrifice had worked, that everyone was safe. The power consumed him only after the deed was done. It was a transaction. A bargain struck between a mortal man and the fundamental forces of existence. The stones weren't just used by Tony Stark, they chose him. They recognized in his journey the very fabric of the universe they represented. So, the next time you watch that scene, look closer. It's not just the end of Iron Man, it's a silent, cosmic agreement, a whisper from the Infinity Stones, acknowledging the one man who was worthy of wielding them all, if only for a moment. It's the story of how a man who started by building a heart to save himself ended up using that same heart to save everyone else. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this dive into the lore of the MCU, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more content. Let me know your own theories in the comments below. Until next time.